Daily Show. And before we dive into today's exciting interview, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Books to Life Marketing. They're the team making it all possible. They specialize in helping authors bring their stories to life through expert publishing, marketing, and media exposure. They're behind some of the most inspiring author journeys we've seen. If you're an author looking to elevate your book, Books to Life Marketing is the partner you want in your corner. And our guest today is Laure Stack. Laure, thanks for stopping by. You're the author of Howie, the Unusual Bear. How
Yes,
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
And that subtitle is The Heartwarming Journey of Courage, Friendship, Embracing What Makes You Different. I appreciate you coming by and talk about this. I'm just looking at the cover. So cute of that unusual bear. And and congrats on the bestseller. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. I live in the mountains right now. I've been a teacher my whole life, mainly a special ed teacher. But since I've retired and moved up to the mountains, I substitute everything from kindergarten to high school. And I've got 3 dogs, 2 cats, and I am pretty active up here. Besides subbing, I ski and hike and yeah, so
Pretty interesting. You do a lot of intriguing things. Stay busy after retirement for sure, right?
oh, you have no idea. I've jumped out of planes and swam with sharks and my life is pretty exciting.
Great. When did you start writing?
I started writing as a child. I when I would be bored at home, I would research things like animals and plants and make my own books. And it was a way for me to find something to do. And so I always wanted to be a writer, but I never had the time until I retired.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a process. Then you figure out now I have time to write it. So tell us about your teaching career.
I was a special ed teacher, and what I mainly did was help. And I first was working at elementary. I was what is called a resource specialist, and I would deal with the kids that had learning disabilities and were trying to keep up with their regular classrooms. They're in high school or in middle school, for example, they're like about 3 years behind in math, language arts. And it was my job to keep them up with their curriculum. And I did it. I did a really good job of it.
Sounds like it. Yeah,
Well, I've
yeah.
had students come back and tell me I couldn't have done it without you.
All right. How did you create Howie?
Howie's created because as I teach these days in school, kids are so different. They're not generic like we were way back when. I mean, they arrive in goth or purple hair, or, each child has their own unique qualities. And the classrooms today are a real mix. And so I thought it was really important to address, how different kids are and the importance of accepting who you are and not changing it to be what somebody wants you to be, to honor your own self and your own true calling, what does it for you, where, what interests you.
I totally see it. And so Howie was created in a way through all your teaching career,
Yeah.
figuring out who Howie was.
Yes, pretty much. And Howie was different. And there's so many kids like Howie. So many kids like Howie out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all right. So what kind of life did Howie create for himself?
Um, Instead of just being bummed that he was kind of isolated from other bears, he built his own log house. He did his own garden. He was friends with all the animals around his cabin. And he was happy. He snowboarded. And he was happy, but he never gave up on hoping that he was going to find his person.
Mm.
And, the thing about this book is um, it prepares them for the world because, I mean, when they get out in the world, there are so many different kinds of people that they're going to have to deal with. Um, and, it's more about being nice. You can say, well, be nice to people because they're different, honor everybody's differences. But it's a fundamental building block for emotional development.
Hmm.
And it's about safety and the future of our society. Because if we're teaching children to honor one another, no matter how different someone is, you're going to be eradicating bullying and all those things.
Could you relate to Howie?
I could relate to Howie when I was like I said, when I was young. Sometimes I didn't always have people to play with. I didn't have people to hang out with. I wasn't one of the popular kids. And so I had a lot of free time, and that's when I would write. That's when I would write. But I totally get Howie.
Sounds like it.
Yes.
Why is talking about people's differences important for children?
It develops a culture of respect. And if kids come to school and learn to respect one another, no matter what, the focus is going to be on learning and not on, what's wrong with his hair or what's wrong with her hair. And I mean, I remember when I taught middle school, there were boys coming with makeup and their nails done. And at first I thought, wow, that's a really gutsy person to be, doing that. And they were, the kids that stood out like that, they were forging their own path. And I see it in the young kids today, all of them. They're all just trying to find, it's a crazy world. And they're trying to find who they are and where they fit in. Everybody wants to fit in.
And it sounds like that's Howie. He tried to figure out how to fit in.
Yeah, he did. He did. He did. He dared to be different, like those children out there. He dared to be different, and he wasn't going to let the fact that he wasn't an average bear stop him from building his house or having a library. Or it's like, this is who I am,
Right.
you know?
What is the main message in the book?
Main message in the book is that we have to learn, and not just in the United States, but we have to learn to care about one another and care about each other's feelings too. It's like I said, it's not enough just to be kind. We really have to, and I think bullying stems from um, being afraid because somebody's unfamiliar. What they're doing or what they're dressing like is unfamiliar to me. So to me, I'm fearful of that. Um, and I think we can totally rewrite these stories and have a discussion about inclusion where everyone learns, everyone thrives, everyone is made to feel 100% welcome. And yeah, especially today.
Yeah, it's a very tough time, and because we're gonna have more time after the specific questions, we'll figure out. We're gonna talk about some more stuff, so you can learn a bit about my background as well. Does it touch on any other lessons?
It touches on friendship and how important it is to have friends. And when in the book, he's friends with all these animals and he loves it. And you know, I see in schools when I'm in schools and there will be that one child and they don't have anybody playing with them or anybody paying attention to them. And that's when the teacher steps in and says, you know, to a group of students that are very nice and well, there's always, thank goodness, in every classroom, a group of really nice kids, kids that understand I, you know, I just need to love everybody. And they will take these kids under their wing and take them out on the playground. And, you know, that's the best way I have found to do it in the classroom. But yeah, it's really about just, you know, just loving one another and being there for one another.
Right. Loving each other and being there for them. Such a powerful thing that is forgotten in so many aspects. And it's a shame. And I think this is the most difficult time for kids today with all the things going on.
Oh, I
More
get
than
social media and everything. It's crazy what they're exposed to. And, you know, somehow they have to navigate this crazy world. And, you know, I didn't have to do that when I was little. I mean, I'm sure you didn't either. You know, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have social media. So now we do. And I think the younger we start with letting children know it's important to, you know, include everybody and not exclude anyone based on they're different, they look different, they act different. Because actually it's a chance for them all to grow as they get to know one another.
100%.
Yeah.
What are the your main inspirations in life?
My main inspirations are having, you know, I think those are my dogs. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. It's not picking up that much. So keep going.
Um, I, creating the kind of life you want, and that's what I've created for myself. Um, and that's like what Howie's creating. I like different things than a lot of my friends. I like to swim with sharks, and I jumped out of planes, and we just got a boat. We just got it on the lake. I live by a lake. My first boat. So we saw a bald eagle yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
fishing. Yeah, on the lake. So living in the mountains is a huge inspiration for me. Another one of my books is about my animals and how they interact with the animals up here. And it's
Is that another book you've written before or another
it's
one you?
not published yet. I have three books that aren't published yet, three that are published.
Okay. Okay. Some more books coming.
Yes.
Books in the ranks. So thinking about children's books and where you want, especially being in the mountains now, to get out and be able to read to children, things like that. Have you been able to do that with your children's books?
Oh, yes. In fact, as soon as I created these books, I would take them to school and read them. And it was really funny because I gave each of the libraries a copy up here in the mountains, a copy of Once Upon a Boy, which is my first book. And a little boy, actually, when I was talking to a class recently about your dreams and how to make them come true. And he goes, I read your book. I know what stops it too. Because the book is about what creates dreams and what can stop dreams. And I didn't know if you wanted to go into that or
No, we have time, so I'm just trying to cover more things, because you could
okay.
have a good. We could
Well,
talk about that other book if you want to. Tell us a little bit about that book.
sure. Once Upon a Boy is a fairy tale. It was never meant to be realistic. And it's about a boy who basically is lonely. He doesn't have friends. He's away from town. And so he starts wishing, and he starts wishing for friends to play with, and they appear. And then they wish for a lunch basket with all their favorite stuff, and it appears. And, and then they want a play set so they can, play on the play set. And he just has this fabulous day. And at the end of the day, he sits back under the tree looking at his friends, and he's like, how did I create this? This isn't possible. I could not have created this. And it's gone. It vanishes.
Wow.
And he's like, oh, what happened? And then he sees behind a tree a can from the lunch, and he realized, I did create it. And once he realizes that he can create things that he wants in his life, he's like, okay, I've got it. Because that's what I find in schools too, is kids do not believe in themselves. And if you don't believe in yourself, there's no way you're going to reach a dream.
Right. What do you think's happened with dreams? But I think a lot of dreams, as we talk about, end in your 20s. And we're just really sad. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of that thought process. At 53 years old, I feel I'm in the best opportunistic part of my life right now at 53, and I don't see myself ever retiring from what I do. All these different things, and the reason is because I truly enjoy what I do. I wish that somebody came to me in my 20s and said, you know what, you can choose something that you love to do and you're great at and you can enjoy, and you won't have to work another day in your life. And I think that that's the discovery. But why do we give up on those dreams? We always settle for something else. And I believe in this wish create what you want when you want type of thing. I have it in my mind and I said I'm going to create it, and there you go, it's there. And that's where we have to be more and more dreamers. Let's start bringing the dreamers back. Let's
Yeah.
start bringing people who truly believe they can achieve.
Yes.
And the problem is in schools, what we do, some teachers, I'm sure not you, is we limit them. We don't see their potential, and we don't see that they can accomplish things. At times as teachers, and that I didn't let you know my background. I'm a former teacher, taught special education, all those different things for years. So basically in my time, I always believed in these kids, and I said they
Yeah.
can do whatever they want. Well, so many teachers wrote them off. I couldn't even imagine today how many people write people off. But it's about giving them a belief and a life, and not to blow up smoke up their butt that you're going to be successful or do something you really love. You're not going to
No,
be working a few hours a week. That's
no,
not true.
no.
No,
You have to be
it takes a
realistic.
lot of hard work to get
And
to where you want to be in life.
and I use my life as an example because I have lived that. I have, from the start of my teaching, I was like, I want to retire in the mountains. I want to have a boat. I want to, be able to travel. And I created that. And in
Right.
fact, my son-in-law said, you said you were going to do it and you did it. And I was like,
And
you
how many
have,
people say that and they never do?
and in school too, it's so academic that if they're not good at math or they're not good at language arts, it can really be hard and they can shut down. And what they have to realize is you've got to get through this and you can learn it. It may not make sense to you right now, but keep an open mind and I will help you learn this. And there are, thank goodness, always kids in classrooms that are willing to help other kids. Always.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think in that conversation, as we talk about that, I feel that this is the other challenge for teachers is AI coming into the classroom. We cannot say technology should disappear. We have to become ourselves as teachers better at AI so that we can teach them how to use it responsibly.
Right.
Instead of saying it's out of your classroom. It can't, The way we evaluated kids 10 years ago has to disappear.
Yeah, I
Has
agree.
to.
I agree. And like we were talking about, not everybody is meant to go to college. Not everybody is meant. And so what they're doing these days, which I'm thrilled about at our high school, is they're bringing back all of the automotive, the woodworking,
That's because of big money there. They better do it.
printing, photography,
Yeah.
because I mean, a kid may not be fit in that little box, that school puts them in.
Because we brought this factory mindset in the 60s and we still have not gotten rid of it.
Right,
And instead of individualizing education, which we now can do,
right.
thanks to AI. And so, and having those conversations with teachers and understanding that I couldn't imagine my one room schoolhouse now. I could print up lesson plans in 2 seconds, have them all set up for kids, have individualized instruction for every student. And I'm sure it's still not happening. And
Yeah.
that's a shame. Some
AI
teachers,
made it
but
so easy to individualize.
to the level you can't imagine. You could throw the IEP in, it could literally create the lesson plans, give you the curriculum, create all of this, print it all out, and then you have individual worksheets for that kid. And then that
Right.
kid can progress on his own. The way we develop education, but the problem is until we stop comparing ourselves to other countries, which pick the finest and the best, we're never going to improve that. And then the other thing is, what do we need colleges and universities for? That
Right.
that conversation's not come out yet, and it's going to,
Yeah.
but that's again a big business that you
Yeah.
have to figure out where you're going. But I think kids have the most biggest opportunities, and yet they feel they don't at all. And I think a book like yours for children to give them that, because there are little kids in that classroom every day that do get that dream that end up being the next leaders of the world. And
Well,
that's it.
the Olympic athletes said over and over, I could have given up so many times. It would have been so much easier what I went through. But to not give up meant to pursue that. And,
Yes.
and I think if there's anything you really want in life, it's going to be difficult. I mean, just,
But I don't understand why don't they tell that.
yeah,
That is so, oh, work the 10-hour work week. No,
yeah,
not a successful business and working for a company, and companies are going to want you to work more and more hours. You got to work hard to get to where you are, but find something you really enjoy doing and do it. And that means, but never give the person that they don't think has any skill set, they can now with this ability to be able to learn as quickly as possible and to put yourself in the market where it needs to be. But you talked about those trades. Those
yeah.
trades, at least for the next 15 years before robots can do all of it, it's there. So people have to jump on that and jump on technology and
Yes,
building skills. I was
yes.
That's the exciting thing.
Oh my gosh, there's so much they can do these days. It's unlimited what they can achieve, actually. And um, they just, yeah, they just need, because sometimes they come from homes that are, they don't read to them, they don't work with them on their homework, they don't. And so what they have is school, and they have the teacher, and they have the kids, and they have whatever books are being, brought into their world. And I really think that one thing I forgot that the schools are doing that's amazing is it's called The Leader in Me, A Leader in Me. And they're teaching kids to be leaders,
Yeah.
to lead the assemblies, to lead all kinds of things. And at the high school, I mean, I saw it in action. Whereas the high school class, it was a theater class, and they taught the class. And it was amazing watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
There's so many possibilities. And your books, is there another? So you have 3 books you've written, right?
yeah, the third book is about a leaf that goes on an accidental road trip based on a true story.
Oh. I could see you just going with the flow and going. Look at you with your boat, and who knows where you're going to end up, where that boat ends up going. That's where I'm interested.
Yeah, this leaf settled on my car, and my girlfriend and I were going on a trip, and it was with us the whole time. And I said to her, I'm going to write a story about a leaf that goes on an accidental road trip. And it wasn't my road trip. I changed the road trip, but it was dealing with fear of new things, people, places, opportunities that come up because the leaf is terrified that it lands on this car and it goes away from everybody.
Wow.
So it's working through your emotions and building trust.
Exactly. Trust. So, but that means go for it. Go for it. So I think that you were the only, never limited yourself. You went retired, said, I'm going to still do. What is your ultimate goal as a writer?
My ultimate goal as a writer, well, I'm really excited about two specific books I have that are in the works right now. And that will tell me where my future is going to lie. But I like really strange things. Do you know what a cryptid is?
No.
A cryptid is like Bigfoot. It's a creature that a lot of people have seen or experienced, but it hasn't been scientifically proven. And I'm all about that kind of stuff. And so I researched the cryptids of the United States. And I found out that each state has 5 or more cryptids. And we all have lake monsters. And it's really interesting because the things I found out in this book. So this book is going to be about all the weirdness that exists in all our states. The next book I did was about sharks because I love sharks. And it was explaining more about sharks than the average, elementary school book. The 8
Hmm.
orders of sharks, and that 80% of the sharks or 90% of the sharks aren't even dangerous to people. And all the interesting facts about these different kinds of sharks. So those 2 books I'm excited about.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. All right. So where's the best place people can find information on you? Where can they go?
Right now, you can go to authorlaurestack.com. I am having another website built, and it's just going to be Laure Stack. But I will, when that website is ready, I will post it on the website that I have now.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.